Hi. Don't want to fight, but I just wanted to ask you, I hope you haven't invested very heavily in Bitcoin. It looks like it's going down.
How are we doing?
Wanted to ask you, I hope you haven't invested very heavily in Bitcoin. It looks like it's going down.
Big Daddy is pumping, boys and girls. It's time to get into these alts. We got some alts pushing into resistance. We got a Bitcoin breakout. Everyone is bullish. Let's get right into this. Guys, and remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and remember, these are the moments that we work for. These are the moments that we live for. Us traders here, we grind for these entries. We absolutely grind for these entries, and then we nail them, and then we appreciate these good moments. Guys, just enjoy it if you guys are cracking it. And it's Ant's mom in the house there, and everything is looking fine. Who got some virtual last night? I mean, I know lots of you guys got some virtual action. I mean, basically, again, it's one of those situations. We could have longed the dog turd last night, but basically everything went up. Okay, so virtual's absolutely cooking. I'm taking claim to that. I gave you guys an absolute banger yesterday. What an absolute ripper. A couple of others obviously doing great, guys. I hope everybody has done well. I see Aloysius is doing really well at the moment there. He's having a good evening. But let's get into BTC. Let's try and decipher what exactly is going on here right now. Well, that is obviously a good start to the afternoon, but in terms of where we are now on BTC, we're obviously moving through a couple of heavy hitting zones here, some heavy danger zones here for us in BTC, and we've just blown through the first big one. It's the 100K region that I've been watching, and I just want to point out immediately, I am picking up a little bit of bearish divergence here, so this is something that we need to pay attention to on the 2 hour. We can see if we look down or back in history, when you get a little bit of bearish divergence on the 2 hour, you do get some kind of reversal at some point. So I just want to say, if you're enjoying the altcoin moments, maybe it is time to grab a couple of profits and things like that. I have closed my super long. I've closed a couple of other longs, and then I've got one or two for you today that I'm going to try and hold open, and we might be getting some bigger breakouts on some of these things. One of them is virtual with about a 65% trade still coming on virtual. So I'm going to try and hold that one open and try and buy some dips or whatever we can do, and I'll guide you guys through that if you are still trading some virtual. Now, yes, Ant says it's no sleep season. Guys, it's feeling like that right now. So what do we do if there is a slight reversal now on BTC? Let's focus on a couple of key levels here. Let's look at a couple of key things. So firstly, we've got 99K. You can see that makes sense. That's our super degen 236 fib level. So we use that for extreme emergencies when we are super bullish. So 99K, we can lock that one in. Then a little bit lower, I've got 98K. Okay, it's not ideal. There isn't tons of confluence around here. Let's see if we can get some horizontals banked in there. Yeah. Okay, so we can work with that. 98K down to 97,300. That makes me comfortable. That sort of region over there to the downside makes a lot of sense to me. So that is where I'm looking if we do reverse here, or not if, at some point we are going to reverse on BTC. So don't get a fright if you see that obviously start playing out for you guys. So those are the levels I would pay attention to right now. Now, in terms of upside and things like that, we're actually going to have to look at the daily chart. I want to show you the next big levels there to the upside, and you can see what's going on here. This is BTC on the daily pushing into a large order block zone. So I've highlighted this as the danger zone, and you can see there's a ton going on here. There'll probably be a fair amount of sellers as well, and the daily oscillator is also slightly bearish, but you can see at the moment we are turning up. So we're probably going to get a bearish divergence print here, and this is ultimately going to build into quite a longer term, and when I say longer term, it might be a few days, but it's going to turn into a nice pullback on BTC at some point. So let's not get under too many illusions here. Let's just keep things balanced and sensible with how we are playing it. So right now, for me, the big one is this current region, 100K to 102K. That makes sense. And then another one, 106 or 107 to all-time highs. That is making the most sense for me. And I'm expecting some kind of activity in these regions. Okay, so just be careful in these zones, especially with these altcoins. I'm going to show you a couple of these alts now, and a lot of them are sitting at danger danger zone. So these are your options now to maybe take some profits, maybe tighten up some stops and things like that at some of these levels, just to protect yourself in case there is a reversal. So in terms of the daily, what could potentially happen here to BTC? Well, let's say the stuff blows right through both of these levels. Well, the fun thing is going to be that we're going to be able to use this all-time high as support later on some kind of pullback. So at some point, we're going to get a heavy pullback on BTC. It depends where it is. Obviously, keep watching the show, guys. It's, we're going to get this one together. But if we blow through this zone, any pullbacks here, we're going to get a nice long off that all-time high as well. So lots to look forward to here, and lots going on. I see Mr. Fox is in the house as well. Guys, how's everybody feeling? Did you guys catch some of the longs? Did the FOMC last night play enough games with you? But did those entries hold? I mean, a lot of these entries really held nicely yesterday. So let me know how you guys are going there in the chats. I'm keen to see who got some of the action. I know a lot of these hackers are very happy today. I mean, they were hitting gold as well, and now everything is absolutely cooking. So we've got a banger show for you guys. I've got so much content for you guys. I've got tons of altcoin charts. They're coming in hot. We're going to cover some of the news for you as well. Kingston, hang here, bro, every day. Just come here. We're going to sort you out. Okay, remember, guys, the red days, those are the days. Come to me. Come to the Lord on the red days. Okay, let's go. Let's talk lickies. $530 million in liquidations at the moment, and that is all those bears getting wrecked. Now, remember, we looked at a guy who was shorting BTC $67 million yesterday, and I suspect he got a little bit of rinsage. So who was doing this last night? The meme master dropping this, and I slept through a lot of the moves. So I was very unhappy this morning when I didn't get to add to a lot of my sizes that I was looking at on some of those positions. So follow me master 08. You can follow him there on X, okay? And then this was a good one, okay? So FJ from FJ from Hackers this morning says to me, send me some P&Ls when I woke up this morning. And I dropped this one here for him. We caught that one there. We caught that one from DJ Dave. He dropped that Pendle one in Hackers for everybody there. And sometimes I like to take the trades of some of our amazing traders and hackers. So sometimes I don't even have to do the work. I can just go and grab those trades. Okay, so that's pretty handy. Then we can see $253 billion worth of shorts getting rinsed. Okay, and our bear that shorted Bitcoin $67 million yesterday, he took a loss of 1.6 million. Okay, so that's going to burn. And but I'm sure he'll come back strong. Okay. He obviously knows what he's doing, and we were threatening this was going to happen yesterday, weren't we? Weren't we saying this was coming? And I see Steve says he's shitting his pants. Okay, Steve, listen, guys, anybody in the same position here as Steve who's feeling a little bit nervous at the moment with this price action, just be calm, okay? We're going to get entries. If the market's truly going to stay bullish, we're going to get entries again. So let things consolidate a little bit. At some point, there is going to be a breather, and then you are going to get the opportunities. If you're trying to long these top moves here, you could get yourself in a little bit of trouble, and there's nothing worse as a leverage trader to watch everybody else making money. Then out of FOMO, you come and long the top of a move, and then you get rinsed and you end up losing when the market is pumping. It's the worst feeling. Okay, it's happened to all of us. And what I can suggest here from experience, let things cool off. Okay, I'm not FOMOing into shit right now. I've taken some profits. We're playing it cool. And if you watch the show every day or you're in Chart Hackers, you're going to get sorted. Okay, so just be patient and don't FOMO. FOMO is the worst thing that can happen to you. Now, we did have FOMC last night, and President Trump on Truth says, too late, Jerome Powell is a fool. Okay, so Uncle Donald, he's not very happy with Uncle Jerome at the moment. Okay, he says it's too late because, everything is down. No inflation, tariff money pouring into the US. I still don't understand that logic. But anyway, and the exact opposite of too late. Enjoy, says Donald Trump. So in summary, The Fed leaves rate unchanged for the third straight meeting. Fed says inflation remains somewhat elevated. Uncertainty about outlook has increased further. Blah, blah, blah. It was basically the same speech as last time, it felt like. And the interesting thing here, what he kept saying was, wait and see. He kept on saying, wait and see, wait and see, wait and see. And it was one of those boring FOMCs. And I think the market shrugged that off quite nicely. And these Asians came and pumped it. Now, some more bullish news floating around. Full and comprehensive trade agreement with the UK. I'm guessing that's a solid move, and we know they are talking to China as well, but now they're having fisticuffs over who called the meeting. Okay, I mean, it's the most childish thing I've ever seen. And James, how are you feeling about that? I know he loves this.
Par for the course, isn't it? Yeah, who called the meeting? It was him. No, it was him. It was him. I didn't ask.
It's that Spider-Man meme with the pointing.
With the pointing fingers at everyone.
It's so childish. Fuck it. Okay. So anyway, that's what's going down at the moment. And things are definitely looking a little bit better on that front. And then to put everything into perspective, this is an interesting comment. Over the last 24 hours, the US has announced the start of trade talks with China and a repeal of the Biden-era chip export bans. Meanwhile, the S&P is a total of 20 points up on the news. Is momentum fading? Fair question. Let's look at the S&P. And buying the top was me before hackers. Make money, travel, enjoy. Look, she's a seasoned professional trader now. I've watched her in hackers. So for me, the S&P, it has moved up a little bit. Couple of pointers. I touched on this one yesterday, and I think the real momentum will come in to the markets if this S&P can blow the 200-day moving average. That is this blue line you see over here. If we can blow that 200-day moving average, I think a lot of investors and traders are going to start coming back, especially if we have a candle close, a weekly or something above that type of region. I think things could start churning a bit higher there. So for me, watching that carefully, I just want to point out once again, bearish divergence on the daily on the S&P doesn't always have to play out. Like we know, it's just a guide. We use it as a guide amongst many other tools that we like to use. But when you see these types of divergences, sometimes you get moves to the downside. Okay, so I'm just pointing that out. So still caution under this big resistance band. When we blow that 200-day MA, that is 5,750. Let's get through that. And then we might start having a little bit of fun. Now, what happens when these traditional markets start pumping and crypto starts pumping? Well, we need to start watching gold, because quite often we can get an entry on gold because gold would technically retrace a little bit. So we're watching gold as a very overextended of its 200-day moving average. And I dropped this trade earlier today in our newsletter. Don't forget, there's a newsletter floating around, guys, the Daily Candle. It's free alpha. And Hackers gets to post trade setups every Thursday. So you get this sent to your email inbox. So if you want some free alpha for you, subscribe to the Daily Candle. There is a link in the show description. Just go under the show, click on more, and you're going to find it right there for you if you want Daily Candle. So every Thursday, the Hackers guys, our team drop some setups for you guys, and gold was one of the setups that I dropped in there today. And what I've said here was gold should drop on the S&P 500 and crypto strength, which it is doing right now. Okay, so we can see gold is turning over slightly, and we can see it printed a lower high, and now we are dropping into two potential gold long zones. So what technically happens, or what typically will happen on one of these levels, is we're going to get some kind of bearish headline, whatever's going to be happening, and the market's going to panic, and the S&P sells off, and then you're going to find gold start pumping, probably for me, off one of these levels. And this is where I'm going to be looking at a gold trade. Make money, travel, enjoy. She's our resident gold trader in Hackers, and I'm quite interested to see where her next long is going to be on gold. But for me, I like these two zones and these levels that I want you guys to watch: 3,260 down to 3,200, and then I've got another zone for you guys. Could be a nice swing play here: 3,170 down to 3,150. Could be nice long gold trades. And remember, I like to trade stocks and gold on BTCC, so you can do that one with me on BTCC. You send crypto there, and we can trade all these stocks, like that Google short that we absolutely smashed yesterday. Inverse bull, okay? So Google apparently is not so bad. Okay, so Vlad Investment Bastion says, over the past 2 years, Google has grown its active user base from 770 million to over 900 million in March to April this year. The growth rate was the highest in several years. Google is not being disruptive, okay, or disrupted. So look, we caught that short. It took us about a week for it to actually play out. I swear I sat in the short for a week. I don't know. It must have been 7 or 10 days. We floated around in that short on Google. maybe even longer, and eventually it fell over. And then I was saying yesterday, look, we most likely are going to get some kind of bounce in that region, that little visit to the lows again, and you can see it is now bouncing one more time. Now, I didn't take the long. I don't like the energy of closing a long or closing a short and immediately opening a long, or vice versa. Sometimes I do it. I can't handle myself, but sometimes, you know, I try not to. I try and avoid it. Okay, so I missed that pump on Google. Now we're going to wait and see where our next possible entry zone is. So for me, we'd probably try that short again if we do ramp it up into that 166, or alternatively looking for moves back down onto this VWAP. It's a nice support level here for us at 145. So right now, just waiting and see what we're going to get. Glenn says time to short. What, Glenn? Hang in there, bro. I'm getting you a couple of alts in big resistance zones right now. Okay, we might actually take a little bit more profit while the show is cooking. Okay, so let's talk $1 billion minted at Tether Treasury. That's obviously, as you know, pretty bullish. We know the market tends to pump when this happens. And what time was this? Yesterday afternoon at 7 yesterday afternoon. So that actually ties in perfectly to the pumpy. Okay, so there you go. There's a little bit of help from the Tether boys as well. And then, okay, so BTC still pumping. Jesus, oh my God. I mean, this is quite bullish. This is rather bullish. And I see Axe said he took the OP from the daily candle long. Nice, Axe. Okay, that was from Chaos. He's obviously one of our absolute guns there in chart hackers. You must know Chaos by now. And he dropped that OP long. Gee, oh my God. Okay. Okay, let's talk liquidation heat maps, and let's start understanding a couple of things about BTC. So 24 hours, you can see they've cleaned out a lot to the upside now. It's a lot of scraps at the moment. Probably a lot of guys trying to short now, so probably getting some kind of squeeze at the moment. And then downside liquidity, just take a look here. Anything from 98.8 down to about 96.5 makes a lot of sense to me there for a little visit from the market makers. So we got to watch those areas there. And look, it's a long way down from here. I think we'll get there at some point, but I'm not expecting anything serious here unless we get some major downside news. Now, but what is getting serious for me, and I want to just raise this topic for you guys urgently, and this is our 4-hour RSI heat map. We have used this thing successfully over the last couple of weeks. And once again, we are now in the red overbought territory. I want to highlight things like Mudeng, 𝗏, Stacks, Injective, EOS, Peppy, ETH even. All these things are moving into the heavily overbought regions. Now, remember, we've been longing from the dark green at the bottom. And when you move to the top there, that is generally an idea to start de-risking a little bit. And not saying that this thing drops immediately. We can obviously have these alts float in these regions for a while and print lots of bearish divergence and things like that. But I'm just pointing this out for you guys. If you're feeling euphoric and you're feeling a little bit too bullish here, just watch this chart and just get a little bit of perspective. There's a reason I'm not aping in full clip now at these types of levels. I'd rather just wait a little bit more patiently. Okay, so in terms of dominance, this is dominance on the 8-hour, and this thing has been dropping beautifully today. Now, we spoke about this, and we were saying the minute this thing rejects, these alts are going to start flying, and the Asians, they gave us the pleasure. Okay, so now we're dropping down, and you can see we are moving into our first danger zone here. Well, not our first. There was one there, there was one there, there was one there. They're just ripping through it. But another big one for me, 64.6%. We are moving into the zone now when dominance moves onto a heavy support level and you start seeing altcoins moving into heavy resistance levels. This is where you need to just also start making decisions here and saying, you know, do I need to bank a couple of profits along the way? So if you get a hard bounce at dominance, it could be interesting. And when Bitcoin is pumping like this, I would expect the next Bitcoin rejection, you are going to see quite a hard dominance bounce. Okay, so look out for that, guys. 64.6. We've seen this movie before. Okay, play safe, de-risk when you need to, do the right thing. Okay, so let's get into ETH. I think I need to delete this now. I mean, is ETH ever coming back to 1383, James? I mean,
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
I might need a new one of these. Okay, so I really need a new one. And this was basically ETH now last night. Has it come alive again? I mean, here we go. And it's basically coming out of its grave. I mean, this thing has been, oh my God, this thing's been absolutely written off. Okay, and I've said here today, possible rejection zone. So anybody trading ETH at the moment, guys, I'm warning you, 2,100 is a danger area on ETH. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Let's get a 4-hour picture here as to what is going on. And you can see quite clearly, this is a zone of interest. You can see we've rejected in this area before. It was support previously. Here's your 100-day moving average. So if you're pumping ETH at the moment, 2,100, guys, I'm just saying, danger zone here. possible short area as well that you want to be watching. And you can see we heavily overcooked now on the 4 hour. And again, we've seen ETH play various games. We've been overcooked on the 4 hour printing divergences where all it did was just stay flat. Okay, so I don't want to write ETH off here, but I want to say again, guys, exercise caution. 2,100 danger zone for me. If we pop this area, we most likely go to 2,250 as the next region. Now, if we do pop higher, then we're going to use 2,100 later as support. Okay, so just be patient there. We can use that on any reversal. But for me right now, 2,100 danger zone, guys. Be careful up there with ETH. And then in terms of where can we buy this? Well, the good thing about any altcoin that breaks through a big resistance zone is that it can give you new levels to play with. It can give you new areas of interest where you can look for new longs. So if you missed a couple of these longs or you missed some of the moves, then at least you have a plan for the way back. And we can see immediately we've got some key levels that we can use to look for potential longs on ETH if there is a reversal. Now, this would be my bullish bias. You'd have to say to yourself, is my bias bullish? Do I want to hold higher lows? Is there more room left for more ETH? If there is more pump room there, 1,950 makes a lot of sense to me. And then I've got a big one here at 1,850. Okay, so 1,950 and 1,850 for now look like reasonable areas for us to pull back to, where you can grab some pretty confident longs. I would say longs with confidence off those areas there, especially that 1,860. Okay, so at some point I do expect us to come back. So just play safe. Okay, you can hear me saying, am I telling them to be careful too much, Jane? Or do you think they're getting the message?
I think they're getting the message.
Okay. Am I being reasonable? Okay.
I think so. We shouldn't just long everything forever here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so guys, yeah, I don't want to come across bearish. I just want you guys to look after yourselves. I don't want you guys, after getting those entries yesterday, to get absolutely rinsed here by making mistakes. Okay, so just keep calm. Okay, keep calm. And Mia says waiting for buy zones for the 20% club. Yes, guys, there's always new entries coming all the time. Now let's talk SOL. And remember, SOL is actually on the 3-day. It's not exactly super bullish on the 3-day chart. So we've got a couple of rejection zones, and you can see so far these areas have done their job. Rejection, and we're busy reacting at this next one now, the 160 zone, and then we got another one higher up to about 180 for SOL for potential upside zones. I do expect one of them to give us the big reversal on Solana. So let's take a look at the DGen setup here. Anyone trading SOL? I'm still trading SOL from yesterday, and I have added a little bit to that guy, and I've got a 𝗬𝗍𝗶𝗴𝗵, a little DGen. I actually took it like 3 minutes before we went live. Okay, I mean, this thing's firing here. SOL from yesterday, guys, you can see it's printing a handbag at the moment. FARTCOIN from yesterday, I've added a little bit. It's not quite at the handbag level yet, but we might be around the corner from a handbag there. So that is starting to move nicely. We're going to talk about all these setups as well. So let's look at our DGen SOL situation. So first things first, let's pay attention. We've got a macro 786 pool here. Look at that. Danger zone. You can see there is a reaction in that area. Look how beautifully that ties in to our higher time frame 3-day level. So we know immediately this is quite a big area for SOL, and we need to be a little bit careful in this zone. Now, this zone, what does it tell us? It tells us that we should potentially reject in that area, and then we can look for new longs. But if we do break through, it allows us to use this later as support for a trade to about 180 that we're going to be looking at for SOL. So upside target potentially is 180. It's the 200-day moving average for SOL. Right now, it's got work to do. 161 is a danger zone. You can see we are rejecting there. Now you have to ask yourself the question, are you super bearish? Are you looking for a short? Are you taking profits? Are you head shorting this area? Or are you going to try and long the top? Okay, I mean, that's the question you need to ask yourself. So if this was me and somebody said, give me a fresh setup on SOL, I'm looking for a long to 180, the safest setup I can give you is longs from 154 as a DGen. Okay, so 154 is going to be your first line or your first zone of interest here that you can pay attention to. So if you do get a dip there, I would say that is your safest support region that you can use for that move. And you can go anything down to 149 should be okay for SOL, and that should give you guys that push into that 180 region. Now, that is making the assumption that SOL is rejecting at this 161 zone. As you can see, I've explained why it's a big zone for me. It's a big resistance zone, and if we do reject, that is where I think you're going to get another 16% trade on Sol. So look out for that. And I mean, we're not going to get too fussy with exactly pinpointing. We can see the general bull area is that zone there, 154 to 149. Okay, so watch that area there. If that holds, then I'd say the market's pretty bullish for that next push up. And Matty says, let's long the top just for fun. Well, bro, I actually just longed the top of fucking 𝗠𝗰 over here. Okay, I mean, literally long the top of 𝗠𝗰. We in that type of frame of mind at the moment. Okay, so guys, target for Sol 180, danger here at 161. Be careful if you are longing here. Remember your big support 154 to 149. Okay, remember all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. They are all there for you. And obviously, Hackers members, you have access to my channel and all the stuff that I do all day long. Sanjay, don't lie, bro. Are we at 109? Oh, okay. Whew. Sanjay, you're freaking me out. Okay. So guys, there's the Sol picture. Be safe. I've decided to hold on to Sol. I'm going to have, this is my Hail Mary play. I've closed a couple of other longs. A notable one is Super that I've closed as well. And we're going to let Sol burn. I'm a little bit upset. I didn't get my full sizes in. I was sleeping during that Asia session. Normally what I like to do is when we nail these entries, the minute we see momentum, I ape pretty hard. And you guys would have seen the last session we had a couple of weeks back. I got near up to 180K. I think I had Sol at 120K, 𝗠𝗰 120K. We had some massive size, and I unfortunately missed the opportunity there. So now playing a little bit of catch up and just trying to be patient here and be strategic about how I go things. The last thing I want to do now is get rinsed when the market is cooking. Okay, let's talk 𝗠𝗰, and you can see I literally longed the top of 𝗠𝗰 there, and now we are moving into a big danger zone for 𝗠𝗰. This is simple TA that I'm giving you here. It's a 618 macro pull from the highs. We know, we've seen this time and time again. The 618 is an absolute gun, and it can work very well in terms of your TA. So what I want to say is we're pushing into 3.97. It's a danger zone. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to close this. There we go. Pay for some lunch. Okay, and there we go. So 3.97 for me on 𝗠𝗰 looks like a problem area for me. Let's look at some horizontals there. 4.25. So anywhere into that type of region, I would say look out for, some bearish activity, maybe a momentum slowing down a little bit. Just be careful in that region, okay? That is where you might get the start of a reversal, and it doesn't have to be bearish. It could be a bullish reversal, and then we could get the next move up. But remember, what we want to see is when you get these uptrends, you go up, down, okay? It's that process. So there's always some kind of breather at some point and things like that after it prints a new high. So just be safe. 3.97 to 4.24, that is a danger zone. Okay, I'm reminding you, danger zone. That is why I closed that scalp long. Don't want to get rinsed here for nothing. Okay, let's talk FARTCOIN. So absolute banger, guys. Let me know. Why are you sweating in your shorts, JR? What's going on here, bro? Let me know who got some fart yesterday. Guys, we absolutely nailed it. I mean, it's some of those days, like I've said before, we do this work every day. Sometimes there's not a trade every day. Sometimes we'll hit one or two stops. But if you keep on grinding and you keep on playing those hot zones time and time again, you are going to come right. Like yesterday was a classic example of trusting the hot zone, being patient. We had staggered entries on virtual, FARTCOIN, a lot of these other things. And all they did was come to us, and then bang, okay, out of it. And then, they did. I see Dan says he nailed his fart. Okay, great. And needs to FARTCOIN, says Tarek. I got fart but tiny position. Yeah, so Matt, I got it small. As you guys know, I only picked up one of my orders, but I just started adding little bits. So now it's about 3 times bigger than it was originally. It's not amazing, okay, but it is doing something. Okay, so let's talk fart. What is the next plan? What am I doing? And, what do I want to see? So you can see FARTCOIN has now broken this trend on the 2 hour. Very interesting. We've also blown through our first horizontal, which was a danger zone that I was concerned about earlier today. And now we have stuck our head through that. So this is promising to me from the perspective that we might get this next push for FARTCOIN into either 1.21 or 1.29. Those are the two upside targets for me on FARTCOIN, and this is where roughly I'd expect it to start rolling over. Okay, so watching those types of areas, you can see my oscillator at the moment. I don't have a reversal print just yet. I don't have divergence. I've got nothing at the moment to tell me that I have to short this thing or close that position. I might want to see some kind of divergence first. Remember, we want to see the lower high on the oscillator, and we want to keep printing highs on the price, and that should give us one of these moves here that is going to roll this puppy over. Okay, so In terms of what I'm looking for, 1.21, that type of region to 1.28. Those are your potential short areas, and that is your potential TP zone for FARTCOIN. Okay, so there you go. And then it's interesting, guys, watch these undercarriages. I mark this a lot on these charts, but interesting to note, when you see a cluster like this, okay, your two targets can be the wick high and the undercarriage of that little cluster. Okay, always pay attention to those clusters there. That undercarriage is quite a nice little weapon as well that you can use. Okay, so you can see that's resistance 1.17 over there. Okay, so play safe. In terms of if you're looking for a fresh long on FARTCOIN, it's difficult for me. You guys know how I like to trade this. I like to trade this on a full retrace of that oscillator, especially on the 2 hour. So I would just rather sit back and wait, guys. I wouldn't rush on this thing for any fresh longs, okay? And yeah, Jason says he's going to get arrested because he killed the trades and chart hackers. Naughty, bro, naughty. Okay, let's look at what else we got. We got Super. Now, again, another case of closing this thing too early. I mean, am I gonna regret this? I closed this earlier today at around about there. Okay, so just under that region, about 71.9. I've now exited Super. And remember the rules, guys. When you get a beautiful pump like this, it's not your money. It doesn't belong to you until you've closed it, okay? Until you're holding something in your hand or you're handing over that handbag to the wife, it's not actually yours, because if the market falls over, then you've just got a story to tell. So don't feel bad about taking some profits along the way. And it's a tough pill to swallow when you see these things ripping a little bit more. 𝗏𝘃 Solomon, bro, that ONDO. Disgusting that ONDO yesterday. I'll tell you a sad story about that too. So in terms of Super, guys, I'm fully out of Super. What I can do for you is just give you some areas that you need to be a little bit cautious in. Okay, the first one is that region over here, 755, and the next one is going to be that all-time high. But I'm fully out of this trade. A little bit careful now. The next pullback or the next consolidation will get stuck in again. Remember, guys, don't panic. You don't need a FOMO to try and squeeze another 10% out of a trade and then get caught sitting in this thing while it melts down 10% and absolutely rinses you. Don't get caught in that FOMO mess. Okay, just be patient. We'll get you entries. Just hang around. Okay, so 755, that is the upside target there for me. Be careful. And then in terms of interim support, I would say 703 makes a bit of sense here. That's just your typical horizontal coming into play. Okay, so watch that zone. 703 makes sense to me. Okay, let's talk things in WeX at the moment. Popcat is what I've got left cooking in the kitchen, and this thing is flying. So we picked up some Popcat late yesterday during FOMC, and then added to that one a little bit. I did a private hackers stream for that FOMC yesterday, and we were discussing a degen play on Popcat. And remember, James actually came. Let's give credit to James here, okay? James came in yesterday and he said to you guys, whales were moving money out of FARTCOIN and they were trying to buy Popcat, and we could see in the strength of Popcat that it was most likely a trade. So thank you, sir. I owe you some lobster, I believe, if you like that type of thing,
sure,
or just a burger and pizza and fun stuff.
Sure. Either one. I'll take anything at this point.
Thank James. Wait, I'm pointing the wrong way. There. Thank James for that trade. Okay, thank James for that Popcat trade. Thank you, sir. Okay, printing for us there. And there's Popcat cooking at the moment. Again, I didn't get massive size. I only added a little bit to it, so we're nearly in handbag territory, but it's doing things. Okay, so Popcat is the most bought token by smart money in the last 24 hours, and we knew that. Okay, because we have James, and James told us that, and Jason even thinks he's hot. Okay, that's great. So in terms of the strategy now for Popcat, I've broken it down for you guys. I want you to know where this can go and where this can potentially bounce. Now, remember, you've got two options. When the market is super bullish, we don't know when the super bullish move ends, okay? But what we can do is we can bang out the 236 fib, which is our super dangerous, super degen bull chasing zone, okay? And we can use that area for potential first longs, okay? So Popcat, your first zone of interest that you can watch, and I'm going to highlight this degen bounce zone, 0.464. Okay, if you start closing under 0.464, the natural place for me to look for another bounce is 442. Okay, so look out there. 464 and 442, those are the most reasonable degen levels. Okay, so don't get yourself rinsed here. Those are the areas where if the market stays bullish, it should bounce. That's 4% down and that's 8% down. So play super safe here. And remember, there's a big rejection zone here at 53. So what is your risk reward? If you're jumping in now, there's potentially an 8% upside move, and there's potentially a 5% or a 9% downside move. So you guys do the maths. If it's worth, taking that type of risk on, and you can always just wait. And Austin says Popcat. No, it's FARTCat, and it's a combo. It was actually the FARTCat combo yesterday. It was FARTCOIN moving into Popcat. Okay, so guys, those are your levels. Upside 53. I'd be careful. I want to pinpoint the bearish divergence here. Okay, so that is just a sign we used. Again, it doesn't guarantee it's going to fall over, but it says to me, just be careful. Okay, like we like this down here. That is where we like to get longs. Okay, when we start seeing things like that up there, we start saying maybe it's time to look for reversals, maybe some possible shorts and those types of things in those zones. Okay, so look out there. That's a danger area for me. Then let's go virtual, guys. I got to play you this. This is such a banger. Okay, and let's see what happened here. Wallets holding 93% of the supply. If these guys are never going to sell, that's kind of bullish. James tells me that there's some staking situation on virtuals, because virtual, you build AI agents on virtual. So if you're staking on virtuals, then you get airdrop tokens of these AI agents, from what I believe. So it is virtually insane. And it's in a zone. Okay, so I had two zones of interest for virtual. Look at that. Slice through that like a hot knife through butter. Done. Okay, I even acted as resistance after that. Now we are dropping into a banger, guys. This is the banger. Okay, if you're looking for a banger, here's a banger. Okay. It's a banger. Okay, that's a banger, guys. And this is the moments we live for. These are the red days we come and we watch the show. Okay, this is virtual at resistance. Now, I've got the similar problem to you guys, okay, because what you're looking at now is virtual in a short zone. Virtual should or potentially could rejection area for you on virtual. So this is the choice you need to make now as a degen. What level of degen are you? Okay, and I'm going to say I'm going for the 65% move on virtual that I can see potentially playing out. Okay, now let me show you this little picture. Now, the risk of this is, you can see I'm sitting in virtual. Okay, we're actually printing a full-on fucking Gucci here. Okay, we had 4,000 profit here from yesterday. Okay, this thing's starting to print. You can see Link's doing nice things for me as well. I'm enjoying that. But in terms of virtual, we got to make decisions here. Okay, let me first show you where this thing can go. Okay, I'm just going to leave this here. 2.63. Okay, there's a 2.63 target. Okay, let's long the top, says Jay. Okay, 2.63 is a potential target for virtual. Okay, are we dreaming if we think it can go there? So let's look at a couple of things. Yeah, we're all in the same trade. If you guys are still in it with me from yesterday, we're all doing the same thing right now. Okay, so these are the options. If this thing could potentially pull back, which this is a big danger zone here. I must just warn you guys, this is serious up here, okay? This could be considered an inverse head and shoulders, and we could drop all the way back down into 1.58. Now let's see where my average entry is. My average entry is 1.48, okay? So that means 1.58, I could technically be safe on virtual and grow this trade, okay? So I've got a limit order set at 1.58, okay? If it drops into that region, I've got another one lower down, but we can also just move that one a touch higher there. So I can have a limit order at 161 and 158, okay? My stop is at 144 on virtual. Now, this is an opportunity for you to either get rinsed, okay? You can send yourself to zero. You can eliminate the whole trade. You can round trip the whole trade. And these are the choices you make. When the market turns bullish like this, you can say to yourself, am I happy with what I've got here? And you can close the trade, which I did on Super, and I've closed a couple of others as well. So I've banked some profits. Now, with that in mind, if there's a Hail Mary opportunity, you need to have skin in the game, okay? And for me, I'm going to have a go on this virtual because there's a possible 63% move coming on this thing if I can manage to hold it. So my strategy is going to be to hang on to this virtual trade. I dropped this earlier today in Hackers, okay? After yesterday, it pinged the first entry already, okay? And this thing has fired off. So the question is it going to come back? So we're going to have to wait and see how this goes, but that is a possibility. 1.58 down to 1.52. You can see that is on the table there for us as a possibility on this thing. And Let's just get that right in terms of levels. So that is my game plan, guys. Okay, and my stop is just below entry, so then I stand to lose pretty much nothing on this trade. But the upside is obviously huge because we'll be adding to that position when this thing melts down, or if this thing melts down. Now, that is assuming it rejects hard here, which I'm kind of expecting it to. And do we have the balls to hold on to the virtual trade and grow this thing, with the belief that we're going to have a bullish bias? James, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, sir?
Hold it.
You're going to hold it. We're going to send this thing 65% or flat. Okay, that's cool.
Gotta hold something and try, right? You've banked some profit, might as well leave one running.
So, guys, that is what I'm going to do with virtual. This is going to be my pet project over the next 2 days. We could get rinsed in 24 hours, or we could send this thing to 2 point whatever. Okay. And I see Chaos is looking for the Pope token.
Apparently, a new Pope has been selected. Donald Trump has been officially named the new Pope.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And Far Art says, good night. Well, sleep tight, bro. Hang out with us a bit longer. Okay, come hang out with us a bit longer. So, guys, okay, you got my plan on virtual. If you want to follow me, your risk is going to 0. Okay, come to 0 with me on virtual. And or let's go to Valhalla together. We'll celebrate together. Okay, we'll kill it. Okay, look at that. Woo. I mean, that's 65% from down there. Okay, 65%. We're going to grow the size of this thing. Anyone who got in, come trade that with me. Okay, let's talk Sonic. And I've got a sad story about a couple of things. And look at this Sonic. Okay, it came down last night. Okay, literally, I think it wicked me out and then pumped. Okay. I'm so offended by this, okay? And because I was sleeping, obviously I wanted to protect myself when I went to bed, and some of these didn't survive. So Sonic wicked me out here, bang on the fucking fib, actually. It's very annoying. And now this thing is rocketed. So what do you do now if you're trading Sonic? Well, look, congratulations if you're still in it. Danger zone 1, we right here, okay? Be careful up here, 56.5. That is a problem area for me. Your next short zone, guys, 58, okay? I've marked your danger zone. Remember, these are your options. These are the zones where you should be in the inverse. You'd be looking for longs. And, when we're pumping, these are the zones you look to take profit. These are the zones you can look for possible shorts. Okay, so these are the areas where you could get a potential reversal on this thing. Be careful up here. In terms of support, it's tricky. When the market pumps like this, you need to let things consolidate a little bit. But in terms of interim support, the best thing I can give you guys at the moment on Sonic is going to be 539. Okay, so watch 539. That is your most reasonable support zone that I can give you at the moment. Let's clean that up quickly. And I just want to highlight this for you there. Okay, so 539. I'll make sure this chart is in hackers for you guys. So if this does pull back a little bit, that first area you're going to play with is that guy over there, 539. Watch that area. Upside, the danger zones. Okay, Glenn Goldberg, what's he smoking about? What's he talking about here? And Alex wants some fart boy. And what else we got? No, man. Come on, you guys in the chats. I nearly read that out loud. I'm fucking hell, guys. Come on. Okay, ONDO. Guys, did I talk about a right shoulder for an inverse head and shoulders on ONDO yesterday? And Mia, I know Mia is here in the chat. Mia, you and I both got stopped out on ONDO. And I said I was waiting for the end of the FOMC to see what to do. And this thing just absolutely ran away. And what did it do? It printed the right shoulder and absolutely set. Okay, so guys, again, I want to warn you, danger zones ahead for you, 96 and 1 for ONDO. Be careful. This does not look natural. Okay, look at that. Okay, when you get these big pushes like that, sometimes you come down. Okay, just look out. Just go back in time on the charts. If you're feeling FOMO, go back in time on the charts, look at the candles and see what happens, after you get these big green pumps. Okay, so just remember, bring some sanity back into the equation. What you want to look for as a bull, if you're looking for entries and you don't want to be short, for example, what you want to look for is a typical move like this. You want consolidation under an area. You want to see a little cluster form here, and then you want to see some kind of bullish breakout. It's as simple as that. So pump into the resistance zone. The most bullish thing you can see is consolidation like this under that area, and then you look for that next breakout into the next zone. Okay, so 96 for ONDO and 1 look like the most danger zones. Okay, now let's talk Pendle. And again, I've gone balls to the wall here thanks to DJ and Dave. A little bit of a late entry because I got his entry yesterday, but it was only a $10,000 entry. And I think it was yesterday or 2 days before. Anyway, we've been sitting in this thing for a couple of days. And I thought, look, if this market's going to blow, this could be one that we could play with because I'm quite bullish on Pendle as a whole. So I've added to this position. You can see my average entry is now 3.41, and I'm trading this one on Blowfin. And I'm doing the same degen tricks that I do on all the other exchanges as well. I can take out all my margin. Once I increase the leverage, I can play that game. So right now, you can see Pendle's running on 50x, and I've taken out the bulk of the margin that I used to start the trade. So now I've got a much lower amount of margin in Pendle, and all I've done is yank that margin out. So now this trade is running. It's not quite free because I've still got $600 in it, but I've got a $32,800 position now. That only cost me $600. Okay, so now this thing is cooking. And hello, Mark. Hello, sir. And Mark is in the house. Now, let's talk Pendle. Why do I think this thing has a chance? Well, yes, this is the same game we're playing on virtual. Now, we know super hit resistance. I closed that thing. We know that a couple of others have pushed into dangerous areas, and we might be getting some reversals. So we can see immediately looking at the chart that Pendle is actually at a danger area. Okay, this is a resistance zone. So if we are looking at this thing, we know that the odds are slightly stacked against us because we're sitting at resistance. So it's quite a dangerous fresh long here in terms of Pendle. Now, obviously, we take into account some current sentiment in the market, but basically what I'm seeing is here, in theory, Pendle should actually reject from the zone and take out this whole move here and get some kind of bounce later on at 3.27. Okay, that is the most reasonable thing that I can see for Pendle. But then there is the option that this thing could bounce a little bit higher. Okay, so right now I'm watching this 200-day moving average ahead of us here, and that is that blue line that you see in front of you. So if we get a hard pop here on Pendle, it's going to get quite interesting. If we get a hard pop into that zone, we're going to look for the rejection at about 4, and we're going to use this area later on as support for another bigger move on Pendle. Okay, so we're going to try and keep it fairly simple here. I'm sitting at resistance on this thing. I want to see it pop. Obviously, if it comes down too far, it's going to take me out 3.41. So I'm just going to play that gamble. Let's see how that goes, and let's see if we can hold that. Where's 3.41? It's somewhere there. Okay, so let's see if we can hold these types of levels on Pendle, and we want to just break through and hit that 4 zone at the 200-day moving average, and then we're going to use 3.7, 3.6, 3.7 as our next big long trade there on Pendle. Okay, so that is the idea, and then there's some big targets, guys. I mean, we don't have to go too deep into this, but you can see Pendle's got work to do. It's got things to do. It's got places to see. What things to go to, places to see, those types of things, 4.85, those types of levels. So there's some absolute bangers here for you guys. Remember, guys, all this TA that you see on my show, very simple stuff. Actually, if you're looking at the areas and you're wondering, how did he get an entry? How did he know? It's not difficult stuff, guys. And I teach it to you in my accelerator course in very short and sweet videos. Okay, there's a link under the show description for you. You can learn how I use my TA and how I integrate it with the oscillators and all the other chart prime extras that I like to use in my trading. And also, guys, don't forget, there's hackers. You can see us here, and the whole squad is in the house, and the shit's going down in there. Okay. So we're having tons of fun there. Guys, that is pretty much a wrap for me. So just final word here for you guys. So we know the market is green. We've seen this story many times before. Don't feel the need to FOMO. You can see I'm not aping in here, guys. I'm just playing it safe now. We're at resistance zones. At some point, we consolidate a little bit. Even if it's a bullish pullback onto a 236 fib, we're going to get a time where we can breathe a little bit and get some entries. Don't put yourself in a position where you're longing at big resistance, because yes, it might work and it might pop later on. But if you do that consistently, you're going to get rinsed. Okay, so play safe. Play small if you want to do these longs at resistance and add on momentum. Okay, so guys, I'm back tomorrow. We're going to sort you out. I've got DJ and Dave back on. He's going to explain himself on this Pendle trade. He's nailed a couple of others. He's actually had a crazy 2 weeks. It's disgusting what he's been up to. And we're going to catch up and see all the cool shit that he's doing. Okay, guys, be safe. See you later.